Hey, how you doing? I hope you're well. I'm Deanna and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you all the books that I adopted in the first quarter of 2025. It looks a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie, and there is no way in God's green earth am I going to be able to like lift them all up for a thumbnail, but there is a lot of them. I'll probably go through this a bit rapid fire. Some you would have seen in my ultimate book vlog, so we'll go through those quickly, but without further ado, let's dive in. So we'll start with all the books that I got at A Romantic Affair. A Romantic Affair was a book convention held in Adelaide in January and hosted by the wonderful Jess from the First Chapter books, and it was such a fun time. As I mentioned, I did do an ultimate book video for that one. I'll leave that up above and down below. So first off, I did get the anthology, which included short stories from Bindi Kennedy, Lucifer, LJ Sky, Layla Pine, Jay Lynn, E.G. Campbell, and M.K. Vindictive. It was fantastic, and there's a full review in that video. I then picked up Bunny Season by Bindi Kennedy. This is a very sweet, very funny rom-com college new adult hockey romance that does have a secret like punch in the heart. We're following Lottie, who has Tourette's syndrome and is pretty much all alone after her grandmother and mother have passed away, and is trying to struggle her way through college. And she ends up, through a colleague at work, meeting Noah, who is the heartthrob of the college and captain of the hockey team, who is jet setting off to the NHL. They decide to engage in a friends with benefits situation. However, Noah takes one look at her and realizes that she is endgame for him and does what he can to convince her that they are going to be together forever. Next we have Slade by M.K. Vindictive, which is an MM Christmas novella, which I am excited for. And then we had If I Would Have Known by M.K. Vindictive, which is a rock star meets hockey player romance with so much angst, deals with a lot of grief, and it had me giggling one moment and in absolute tears and devastation the next. Completely adored this and am excited for book 2. Next up I have Side Stage and Jumpstart by Kate Louise. She is an Australian romance author. Side Stage is a rockstar romance and Jumpstart is a GT racing romance, and after having read a Formula One romance recently, I am excited to give this one a go. Both are set in Australia. I think this one is a enemies to lovers. I am excited to read Kate Louise. Then we have Ruined by Gemma Black. All I know is that this is a magical academy, potentially dark, paranormal, why choose romance, and honestly, that's all I need to know. Also, we have a curvy character on the front cover, so tick, tick, tick for me. I'm excited. Then we have Null and Void by R. Moody. This is a fantasy, which I know has got a whole heaping of feminine rage, and I am very excited to get to this one. It says once an assassin, always an assassin. Let me just show you look how beautiful this is. We are following Mika, who is a retired assassin and a null. So in this world, they are powerless, and she thought she would be able to retire and spend her days alone. However, she is sold into slavery, and the fate that was promised to her is completely lost. She now is destined for an impossible rescue on a foreign land, and her only chance of survival is to fight the destructive rage simmering beneath her skin and learn to trust those around her. And I really need to pick this one up already. Then I have Carry Your Debt by E.J. Campbell. This is the second book in her Pantheon series, which is a dark why choose romance, which I think has got some kind of gang underworld influence, and I just obsessed with these covers. I'm excited to read more of E.J. Campbell, especially after I read her short story in the anthology. Then we have Crave by Stevie Carter. When I met her, she said that this was spicy X-Men, and I knew I had to have that because I love superheroes and I need all the superhero romances. Dark, steamy romance featuring an independent female main character and a sensitive, tortured male main character who falls first. And this is the first book in the Stitch Up series, and I am very excited for this one. I just really want to pick it up right away, and I think currently there's at least 2 books out, so very excited to get to this one. I should stop by saying I'm very excited to get to them because I'm excited to get to all of them. Then we have Her Dark Angel by Chloe Higgins. This is a rock star romance, which is like a fake dating situation between this like broody, tortured rock star and an up-and-coming actress. She is Hollywood's sweetheart, and it's like a fake dating situation for publicity, and this one is set in the 80s, and I think there is like trigger warnings for substance abuse and suicide. So I think it is going to be quite dark, and interested to see how this plays out. Then we have When Shadows Dream by Ren Smith. This is a urban fantasy. We have a hybrid named Jessie who feeds off the emotions of corrupted humans, and she survives on the edge of reality. Hidden from enemies of her family, she avoids the supernatural as much as possible until a chance encounter in an alley on Earth opens up possibilities Jessie never thought possible. Yet how many of her secrets will be uncovered, and just what lies will she expose? When her enemies become allies, friends become foes, she must forge her own path in the shadows. Can she survive the perils long enough to find her way to her own happiness, or will her dreams be crushed by the grand plans of the Almighty's enemies? Will those by her side stand strong, or would they crumble and fall? I don't know if it's angels and demons, but I definitely know it's got some kind of, wow, if you read that, definitely some paranormal. And it was so lovely to meet Ren, so would love to read this soon and support her and wait for the next book. I then picked up Heart of the Farallon, Power of the Farallon, and Strength of the Farallon by LJ Rojo, and these are paranormal romances, in particular featuring werewolves. And the first one is like a single mom and the alpha of the werewolf pack, and we have the beta of the pack. I'm not sure what the pack dynamics are, if it falls into Omegaverse or it's just like playing on that study of like wolf hierarchy. And it looks like a girl from a different pack is coming to the Farallines and realizes that maybe the way her pack treats her is not how they're supposed to treat her. And then last one that I have, I don't know if there's any more in this series, is the Strength of the Farallon. So we're looking at the enforcer and a girl who's lost her brother who was her best friend, and she's kind of confused about life and what to do now and struggling with that. So she leaves to go back to her hometown and she meets the enforcer. So I also just love the way these look together, and I think save these for October because I think these would be great to binge. And then last I have Path of Stars by LK Shear, and this is a binder of the Wildthorn Academy, and in here we have Fated Mates, I believe it's a Why Choose, MN scenes. I saw the artwork for this one and it just looked super cute. And you know me, I love a magical academy. So when I saw this was like Fated Mates, Academy is in the title, I just knew I had to pick this one up. Okay, there's probably going to be not much of a rhyme or reason, but what I'll do is I will then show you some books that I recently received from the first chapter book, since the event was run by the first chapter. And first we have The Moon and His Tides by Gianna Darling. Gianna Darling is an author that I've seen around a lot, but isn't necessarily one that I've been drawn to her books. But this is an MMF romance, and I've heard people raving about it, and I believe it's like an actor and his wife and another guy is brought into their relationship. I don't know if he is also an actor or what that happens, but I've heard people absolutely devouring this and are like fully obsessed, and I've heard nothing but good things. I love an MMF dynamic and I'm always on the lookout. Obviously Why Choose is my favorite, but I also enjoy an MMF, especially when everyone's loving everybody, so couldn't pass this one up. Then we have A Ballad of Phantoms and Hope by MK Moronova, and can we just look at that cover? I know she has a really dark romance which is like a army, and I think it kind of falls along the same train as like Still Beating Hearts, and there's another one by Kate Stewart, like Savage Warfare, where I think they get captured and are taken together. But this one is an emotional, heartwarming story of two mentally unwell ghosts who've lost their way, and I saw this one and I thought, you know what, why not ghost romance? I've pretty much read every other paranormal creature, why not ghosts? Actually that's not true, I think I've read one ghost romance, but this one looks like it's probably gonna be like super angsty, and ooh, and look at those chapter headers, absolutely beautiful. So yes, there's that one. And then last but not least, I finally picked up a copy of A Love Letter for Whiskey by Candy Steiner. This book has been on my radar for years. I love a rockstar romance, and this is a rockstar romance where it seems to be, my understanding is that it's like right person, wrong time, time and time again. And yeah, we're following Jamie and B, who are two people who are in love with each other, but the timing never seems to be right. So I think it will be angsty, and I know this is the anniversary edition, so this bit here is A Love Letter to Whiskey, and this bit here is Love Whiskey. So this is from his point of view. I'm assuming it might be like Drive by Kate Stewart, where we're just getting the female main character's point of view. And I think it's really about time that I picked this up. So when I'm in the mood for a book that potentially will break me and make me cry, I will most likely be picking this one up. Then from Patreon, I received one of the Black Rose auction books. So I'm a Patreon for Katie Robert. So this includes Wicked Pursuits by Katie Robert and RM Virtues Divine Intervention. I kind of love these flippy books. RM Virtues I have heard of. Oh yes, yeah. He does the Sing Me to Sleep, which is a sleep paralysis demon. Wow, that was hard to say. And I'm pretty sure he also writes a Hades and Persephone, which may be queer. So this particular collection, Wicked Pursuits, is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, and Divine Interventions is a Goldilocks retelling. So yeah, I think that's fun. We also have Sprayed Edges. I think Katie Roberts has been working with Bonkers Romance, I think it's called, to put together collections. So this might have been one that they did do as like a Kickstarter, but now it's been picked up by Source Books. And if it is, I love the fact that they've kept this, because this to me is endlessly entertaining and I will never not get enough of that. Then I got Trials of Dusk and Dreams by Lana Parachek, and this is the second book in the Fae Devils series. I completely love this series. This is a Why Choose fantasy romance. It's a spin-off series to a Fae Guardian series, and we're following Willow and the Slewer, and this is kind of like a portal fantasy within Elfhame. So while that world, we know it's a futuristic Witcher fantasy world, we pop into Avalora, which is a more traditional take on the fairies. So we have Deadly Trials. Yeah, they feel very much like the Celtic Fae of lore, and I devoured this one. The ending just had my jaw dropped, and I really don't know where we're going from here, but I'm excited when Lana brings out that book to get that. Next, I have Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This was kindly gifted to me by my mum. It was a late Christmas present, and this is possibly one of my favorite cozy fantasy romances. We are following Hela, who is a widow. She has been living as a housekeeper for her deceased husband's like eccentric uncle since the husband's death, and unfortunately, unbeknownst to her, once the uncle dies, he leaves his entire inheritance and estate to Hela, which makes his relatives really angry. So they come in, you know, guns are blazing, metaphorically, and try and force Hela to marry one of her deceased husband's cousins in hopes of keeping the wealth in the family. However, Hela is nothing but a very practical woman and knows she's got her will, so if she dies, her inheritance, this massive estate, it will go to her nieces. So she pulls a ceremonial sword off the wall and goes to stab it through her chest, when the sword is not just the decoration, but actually Sarkis, who is an immortal being trapped into the sword who's vowed to protect her. And then they go on a roaring adventure to the Temple of the White Rat, who are like these priests slash lawyers of this world, to try and keep Hela's inheritance. Adventure, comedy, romance ensues. I was then sent a copy of The Crimson Forest by Louise Damgard, and thank you, it is very beautiful. We are following Venna, who is the first human on the continent of Solaria in 1,000 years, and that's a continent ruled by shape-shifting people, the Anoans. With no memory of her past or how she became stranded here, Venna is searching for the truth. Her only clues are the countless scars covering her body and her fighting abilities. Asher, the alluring Ionian king of the forest realm, might be able to help her find the truth, but he needs something in return. The evil mountain realm is closing in on his realm and threatening his borders. He needs Venna's help in retrieving a weapon crucial for saving his people in an impending war. He needs a human, and Venna is the only solution. So yeah, this one sounds fantastic. I'm interested in the fact that it says like shape-shifting people. Like, are they shifters, or are they like the shapeshifters from Supernatural, and can they just shapeshift into anything? I love a fantasy romance, and this sounds like it's going to be fantastic. I was also sent a copy of A Debt of Shattered Hope by N. Caracas. I'm so sorry, I probably said that wrong. By House of Fables. And this is a enemies to lovers dark fantasy romance. This is the first book in a duet, and it will shove you headlong into a world of dazzling magic, political intrigue, and remind you why the Fae were always meant to be feared. It is a grimdark gay fantasy romance, which love. We've got secret artifacts, soulmates. It's a Game of Thrones meets Pan's Labyrinth, and I was like, okay, count me in. Feminine rage was also another buzzword. So this one was released on the 28th of March, so I am very much behind. And it looks like, from what I can see at the very start, where we've got the courts and the glossary, that we're using like Old Celtic in terms of the naming systems. And we love a Fae court, and this author has corrected what's always bugged me in the ACOTAR series. We have the 4-day courts and the 4-season courts, because we have dawn, dusk, day and night, as well as spring, fall, summer, and winter. It always bugged me. Where the hell was the dust court in ACOTAR? So thank you so much to this author, and I am really excited for that. I think the Fae, like if we're looking at the Celtic lore, and especially like the Unseelie Fae, this is going to be perfect for a dark fantasy romance. I picked up a copy of The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi because, I mean, look how cute this is. I think this is a cozy romance where we're following Saphira, who opens a cafe with pet dragons. So I'm just picturing like this fantasy world where we have a cat cafe, but instead of cats, we've got dragons. And I was like, that sounds like the cutest freaking thing ever. Say no more. I would like to know. So we've got a girl who is opened a cafe, but wasn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning. But her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering the costs of keeping this cafe open. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, the cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know the answers to each other's problems, but the happy-go-lucky Saphira and the gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together, or maybe ignite some fire of their own? I don't know if everybody in this town has a dragon, and if so, where can I go to move there? Because I want a baby dragon. This sounds so cute and I can't wait to read it. Then I picked up The Charlie Method by Al Kennedy. This is second generation for the Briar U series and Off Campus. I haven't super been interested in the first two books, which is The Graham Effect and The Dixon Effect. I probably will pick them up at some stage, but when I saw them advertising it and saw that this is an MFM, I just knew I had to pick it up. Whatever this is with Charlie, all three of us will figure it out as we go. So yeah, I'm excited. That's all I need to know. We got a college hockey romance with an MM. I think it's not an MMF, I think it's an MFM. But still excited nonetheless. I did get my copy of My Feral Romance by Tessania Odette finally arrived. This is perfect if you love the sound of a fantasy rom-com, which is like Bridgerton with fairies. I completely love and adore this series and was beyond excited when this arrived. It has been signed by Tessania. I know she's since closed her, or is in the process of closing her like online shop, but I think she said she'll still do some, but you can purchase this at all places where books are sold. And look how I had to get the beautiful hardcover to match the beautiful hardcover of the first book. I think we'll move on to the special editions now because they're all looking at me. And the first special edition I have is from the Book Cove, and it is the first book in that series, A Rivalry of Heart by Tessania Odette. And I know I'm not one for like duplicate books, which is a lie apparently. I keep telling myself because I seriously am. But I couldn't pass this up, and we've got a letter from Tessania. Oh, and we have the artwork that she has in the standard copy but coloured. And again, this is a fantasy romance, Bridgerton vibes with Fae, and this is like two rival writers on tour, and I completely love it. Next up, special editions that are directly from authors. We have the first two books in the Cozyverse, which is an Amigaverse series by Ileana Lee and Emily Emerson. So we have a pack for autumn and a pack for winter, and I love that they kept the same covers for the special editions, but we just have this gorgeous gold foiling here on the autumn, and we've got Felix in the corner. Beautiful edges that match the landscape on the back. Forever Obsessed. So this is a Why Choose romance. It has a little bit of angst. We've got chronic illness representation, which is a staple for her books, and I really love it. We also have a plus size main character who is new to town and really unsure of alphas, and we've got a kind of pack in peril. Two of the alphas are all for it and one's not 100% sure, and they all find love and find a way to, you know, help heal themselves. And then on the beautiful pack for winter edition, we have the silver foiling, and I just love that we've got like little bits like in the title on the tinsel. It's just beautiful. Felix again. And this one has Ileana Lee's signature builder pack situation. So we're following Ivy Winter, who is a overachieving teacher, the consummate people pleaser, and when work starts, she constantly shoves her own needs down. In the middle of a snowstorm, she runs back into her classroom to save her fish, and three men run after her. One of them is Logan, who is the town electrician, and then we have Rome, who is the newest music teacher to the school, who is also an alpha, and we have his partner, who's a beta and a vet, named James. We'll say not a massive fan of small town, but love small town when we blend it with something, whether that's Amigaverse, monsters, paranormal, completely love and adore this series. And the wait for the next 2 books, Pack for Summer and Spring, will be a little bit because that's coming out next year. But I now have these beautiful editions on my shelf and can reread to my heart's content. Next we have Falling Shadows, which is by Romantasy, which is run by the Romance Cartel by Casey Kane. And I just love how small it is. This is the first book in her Silvercrest Academy. No one does a magical academy quite like Casey Kane. She is like a staple in the genre and I love it. And I've actually read this one. It is Why Choose, and we are following witches. It was very good. It's actually one of my priority series for the year, so I'm excited to... Oh, look at that foil. I'm excited to continue on with this series and wrap it up by the end of the year. Next, we have the beautiful bind-up edition that Beyond the Pages did of the Rock Hard Beautiful series by C.M. Stunik. So this is a Why Choose Rockstar romance. Actually, one of the first Why Choose Rockstar romances I ever read, and this includes Groupie, Rhodey, and Moxie. So here we have the main characters on the front. You're gonna get a full book tour because she did a fantastic job. We also have the other dust jacket, which I love how like as if it was like an album cover, and the naked hardback, which again love that it looks like a tour poster here. Here are some end papers. This one basically is a bit dark. We follow a bunch of broken people who find a way to kind of heal and come back together, and I ate it up. I'm pretty sure I read these like 3 books in 2 days because I just couldn't get enough of these characters. And when I saw Beyond the Pages was doing this beautiful edition, I couldn't help myself. I needed it. Then we have Sea of Ruin by Bookish and Spice. This is by Pam Goodwin. I love this book. If you love Pirates of the Caribbean and dark romance, you need to read this book. It is a love triangle between the pirate queen Bennett and her ex-husband Priest, who stole her ship from her, and the naval captain Ashley, who has captured her. So yeah, again, you're getting a book tour because these special editions deserve it. I love that this looks like an old book. It's beautiful. And then I think I'm gonna flip it around because I do enjoy the artwork of our 3 main characters there. I also love that both this and Beyond the Pages are Australian book boxes. I do love to support Australian business, so that was very exciting. We'll move on to Fairy Loot. So for Fairy Loot Romantasy for January, we had The Starlight Air by Emilia Howard. From this one, ooh, I'm just gonna do this. Watch it now not work. Oh, okay. Which is a fantasy romance which gives like, I was gonna show that. This looks like the like traditional cover. It has Persian or Middle Eastern vibes to it, which looks beautiful. We are following a bladesmith who's invited to a royal court and finds herself caught in a web of political intrigue, magic, forbidden attraction to the prince's half-brother. As rebel forces rise and ancient gods take notice of her ability to imbue magic into her work, Sayuro must choose between embracing her destiny or risking everything to protect the kingdom. So that sounds fun. It's not one that was like super on my radar, but I am intrigued by the kind of Middle Eastern setting, and I really want to know what this like foxbird thing is. As always, Fairy Loot does a beautiful book. Then for February, we got Iron and Embers by Helen Schuer, and it's the first book in a spin-off series to her Legends of Thesma series. From what I've heard, people have recommended that you do read the Legends of Thesma before this one, so I probably won't get to this one right away, but I am intrigued to read Helen Schuer's work. So it's an assassin seeking revenge is drawn into a deadly competitions at an ancient academy to stop magic threatening the realm. As she competes in a brutal series of trials, she must confront dangerous rivals, uncover hidden truths, and navigate the fraught partnership with a war hero she once betrayed. I believe she's also like an alchemist, which is why this looks like a herbology textbook, and that's just so much fun. I personally love this cover. I love the colors. Like, this is my colorway, but this is the traditional cover with a purple colorway rather than red. So it might be a little bit till I get to this one, but all of the Legends of Thesma books are out, so maybe I'll try and binge them. I am excited to give her work a go, considering she's such a big powerhouse in the fantasy romance genre. And then for April, we have Firebird by Juliet Cross. This is another Bramble book. Bramble seems to be doing some interesting things, so I may need to pay attention to them. But this is a fantasy romance which has Roman inspiration, which I am very, very excited for. Trigger warnings in here, which I heard from Jen from the Book Refuge. We do have a master-slave dynamic, so the Roman Empire, unfortunately, is famously known for keeping slaves. So if that's not something you can read about, I would recommend skipping this one. And this is the traditional cover. Look at her with her dragon bangles. So let me give you a little bit more of a blurby blurb. So we have a fierce Roman general cursed with a dangerous secret is captivated by a mysterious dancer whose fate is bound to his own. In a world ruled by dragons and war, their forbidden love ignites a dangerous path where survival hinges on choices between loyalty and sacrifice. This was one on my radar, and I pre-ordered the Brambles first edition, but once I heard that Fairy Loot was doing a copy, I cancelled that because, I mean, this edition is beautiful. Like, the oil painting image on the front is stunning. Then I have possibly one of my most prized possessions, and it is the Make Games Death series by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann. This collection was put out by Book Crates for Days, and look at this. This includes Haunting Beauty, Hunted Beasts, Hateful Prince, and Heartless Villain. I love the fact that we have all the artwork, and our main girl Dahlia is meant to be a plus size main character, so we do have that depicted, and they've just done a phenomenal job. The artwork is fantastic. The books are also in like dark mode, which I love. So this is the third series in the Make Games universe, and in this we are following Dahlia, who is a romance writer and survivor of a death cult. She has a very public breakdown at the movie premiere for her movie adaptation of her books, and ends up being recommended that she gets sent to Blackwood Wellness Clinic in the Scottish Highlands, and Dahlia has been talked into it by her bestie and agent. Figures, hey, when was the last time I've had a holiday? Sure. Why not go to the Highlands? The Highlands is cute. When she gets there, she realizes it is very much less a wellness retreat and more a prison or asylum for the dangerous and criminally supernatural people. And she realizes that monsters are real and she may be dangerous, and ends up in a why choose situation with her therapy group, which includes Tor, a cursed Novus Guardian. Let me just quickly, I just want to do that with the books. I clearly didn't do this fast. So yes, we have Tor, our cursed Novus Guardian. Kane, a southern gentleman who doesn't remember much before he got there, but has a very cute dog named Arsehole. Kai, a Scottish dragon shifter and tattoo artist. And the one and only Caspian Hook, who is, yes, the real Hook. And I just think these are so beautiful. Book Crate for Days have done an amazing job, and these are going to live in pride of place on my shelves. Once I finish sorting them, I will most definitely have a Make Game shelf. I did pick up Onyx Storm. This was a pre-order. I made sure that we got the one with the matching sprayed edges. This is the third book in the Empyrean series. We follow on from Violet Sorrendale and Xaden Riderson's adventures in the Dragon College and the impending demise of the Imperium. And then last but not least, I went to Supernova. You know me, I will always manage to find a book. So first off, I picked up 2 books from New Dawn Publishing. So I picked up Kate Forsyth's Long Lost Fairy Tales, which has been illustrated by Lorena Carrington, and The Amber Owl by Juliette Marillier. Juliette Marillier is kind of a staple in fantasy, and I think she does a lot of like medieval fantasy. So we're following, I'm probably not going to say this right, Stacia, who lives in an isolated farming village on the edge of the mysterious Hartswood Forest with her unusual dog for companion. Although thought odd by the locals, she is tolerated for a rare gift with animals. Engaging with her fellow humans is difficult, with one exception, goat herder Locus, who shares her love for storytelling. Peace of the Heartwood is shattered when a group of soldiers descends under the orders of the ruler of the Northlands. Their mission is to hack a path through the forest and find the fabled treasure said to lie deep within. Under grueling decree, her village falls into chaos. The task is clearly impossible. The forest is alive with bears and wolves, and the old tales speak of evil spirits, monsters, and uncanny beings. Nobody has ever gone deep into the Heartwood Forest and returned safe and well. When she raises her voice in protest, she is removed from her beloved home and transported to the court, a very different world. A word of her special skill has reached the ruler's ears, and Lady Elisabetta has a job for her. but she will not break her vow to protect the forest, even under the most appealing threat. Help comes from an unlikely quarter. So that sounds fantastic. It's giving me the same vibes as like Catherine Arden's A Bear and the Nightingale, so very much love this. I also completely adore Kate Forsyth. She writes so many fairy tale retellings. I actually need to continue on with her back catalogue, but this is a collection of 21 forgotten tales, and throughout we have beautiful illustration from Lorena Carrington, and I actually got to speak to her, and she said she makes all of these with like photos. So like if you have a look here, all the dragon scales are like leaves. It is stunning, and this is just filled, and we're gonna have Kate Forsyth's beautiful writing, and I'm very, very excited to get to this. And then last but not least, I picked up Surrender by G.R. Thomas, which is the second book in her Avian Chronicles. When I saw her, she mentioned that this was like the White Queen by Philippa Gregory meets Shadowhunters, and that sounds amazing. We have like the last angel on earth who is being hunted down, and this is obviously book 2, so I am very much excited to get to this series. I've noticed that the main character's name is Woodville, and if you know anything about the Wars of the Roses, Elizabeth Woodville is the quote-unquote commoner who managed to marry Edward the 4th. So there we have it. That was the many books that I purchased for myself in the first quarter. Not all of them were purchased during the quarter, like some of the special editions were bought last year and have just arrived. So yeah, comment down below and let me know what the last book you adopted was, because you know, book buying, it's not a problem. We're just giving homes to books who need them. Reading books and buying books are two very different hobbies, and I will die on that hill. Or you can leave me a pumpkin emoji for a pack for autumn. That could be fun. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. Linked in the description box below will be these books, any book businesses I mentioned, along with any reviews if I have them. And like always, my social media channels will be linked in the bottom if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I will speak to you soon. See ya!